church. If you have your Bible with you, grab it, open up to Matthew chapter 5. We're going to be going through 28 verses this morning, all right? We've got a lot of ground to cover. There's actually more verses in the last 3 weeks combined, so we're going to be moving quick, all right? We're going to be going fast. Stay with me. That's why your Bible's going to help you. But Matthew chapter 5, and here's a few of the topics, just a few, just the top half, a few of the topics we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about murder, anger, lust, adultery, divorce. That's just the top half. I mean, it sounds like I drew the short straw for preaching this summer, right? What is Jesus doing here, right? Like these topics, like just cramming them all together in 28 verses, like what? See, before you build a foundation, you have to first test the soil. You have to dig below the surface to make sure that the ground is strong, that the ground is solid. And so that's what Jesus is going to be doing. He's going to be taking his foot to a shovel, and he's going to be pressing into our hearts this morning, right? And so church, before we break ground out there, he wants to break ground in here. That he wants to begin revealing some new soil. That he wants to be looking for some good, fresh soil. He wants to be breaking up some hard hearts. And so this morning, we're going to be digging through some hard topics. And we're going to move fast. Stay with me, all right? We're going to look at 6 areas. I love the simplicity of that when it's really hard. Like what's simple is we're going to look at 6 areas. If you've ever wondered, like, what does Jesus care about? Like there's so much here, right? Like what does Jesus really care about? What matters to him? We're going to look at that this morning. This list is not going to be exhaustive. It's just where Jesus starts. And so if it matters to him, I think it should matter to us. All right, so I'm going to pick up from last week. We'll get a little bit of a running start. Verse 20, Matthew 5, verse 20. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees, the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. If we go back to the Old Testament, God gave 10 commandments. These are 10 laws, 10 rules. And the whole the purpose, the point was to help us as his people know, how do we relate to him? How do we relate to each other? And so God gave us the 10 commandments. Think of it this way. It's kind of like a measuring stick, like a ruler. God gave 10 commandments so we know simply how to relate to him, how to relate to others. And the whole genius of this is it's portable, right? It's 10. It's not too many, but it's not too few. 10, we can remember 10 things. We can carry this around. We can carry around the 10 commandments. It's portable. It can fit in our pocket. As we go through life, we always know how to relate. Over time, the teachers of the law, the Pharisees, when you think of those guys, think of lawyers, right? Like lawyers love reading the fine print. And so the teachers of the law, the Pharisees, they went back through the Old Testament and they combed through word by word and they counted up not 10, but 613 commands, rules, laws. They added them all up and they said, that's the measuring stick. See, that's the standard. But no matter how hard they tried to live, to obey with these 613 laws, they just realized the more laws just revealed that I am a lawbreaker. And so they did the only thing that makes sense. They added more laws. We do the same thing. It's easy to laugh, but we do the same thing every year, right? Like we're adding more laws to our legal system. Like it just takes that one person, right? Like it just takes one person doing one stupid thing, and all of a sudden now we have to create a new law. Well, that's what the lawyers, the Pharisees, the teachers of the law were doing. And so 1,500 years from the time of the 10 commandments now to the time of Jesus, you can see every year they're adding more and more laws. Now, I think the intent was actually okay. Like the intent was we're trying to build a fence around the Old Testament 10 commandments, something to protect us. And so we're going to build more laws, more rules to protect us so we don't break the original. But over time, this just got out of control. Here's some examples. The 4th commandment, all right, keep the Sabbath holy, right? We see that in the 10 commandments. We see that here. It's very simple. Keep the Sabbath holy. And so God, through the Old Testament, talks about not working on the Sabbath, but we should rest on the Sabbath, that it's made for us to rest. Well, for the Pharisees, that wasn't clear enough. They liked the fine print. And so they defined, well, what counts as work? I mean, can't you just see us doing the exact same thing, right? The way that we're wired, like what actually counts as work? And so they made up more rules, more laws. Here's a few. You can tie a knot on the Sabbath, but only with one hand. Because if you use two hands, well, that's defined as work. You can't spit on the ground on the Sabbath because that's working the ground. You can spit on the ground 6 days a week, but not the Sabbath because that is work. You can't eat a fresh egg from a chicken on the day that it was laid because that day the chicken worked. These are real rules, real laws, as they're trying to define work. You can walk a half mile from your house, but you can't walk 3/4 of a mile from your house because that's too far. And so that was classified as work. And so the 10 Commandments, I mean, it went from the 10 Commandments to now debating, like, can we even eat an egg? I mean, you can see, like, it's laughable. It's just getting so out of reach, so out of God's intent. And so that by the time we get to Jesus, the Pharisees have added thousands of extra rules, laws, traditions, a way of doing things. If you think of it this way, it probably looks like this. This is a giant ruler, right? Like down to every inch, every 1/4 of an inch. You may not see it, but this is a giant ruler. I mean, it goes all the way up to 126 inches on this thing. Like, this is what they were doing. They were going from what God created, simple, portable, carry it with you, easy to remember, to this, an impossibly high standard of made up man rules. And so for all of the people, by the time that Jesus is preaching, all of the people, they're looking up to this. And so when Jesus says that your righteousness has to surpass, that it has to exceed, it has to be higher than the Pharisees, everybody's thinking like that's not even possible. This is an impossibly high standard. Like, I can't, like if that's the bar, like I'm not even gonna try. So by the time of the Pharisees, the whole system is just completely broken. I mean, it's too much. It is crushing. And they are using the equal weight of their laws, their rules, as what God has said, and holding all of us accountable to it. So Jesus steps in. Jesus comes on the scene. And he's about to expose that this whole system, what the Pharisees are doing, that was never a part of God's plan. That was never the intent. The whole system, it's broken. Verse 21. You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, you shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. See, by the Pharisees, their standard, their rules, they're saying, well, I haven't killed anyone. Like, I'm not a murderer. Like, if that's the measuring stick, well, then I'm not breaking any rules. Like I must be righteous. But Jesus puts anger and murder on the same line because ultimately it comes from the same place. It comes from our heart. Verse 22, again, anyone who says to his brother or sister, raka, which is a word that means empty or worthless, foolish, it's just an insult. Raka is answerable to court. And anyone who says, you fool, will be danger of the fire of hell. See, Jesus is saying it's not just murder, it's not just anger, but what matters to Jesus? Relationships. See, our relationships. Jesus cares about how we treat others. When the gospel invades our life, as we accept Jesus, that this flows into every aspect of life. This is a new way of living. And so the way that you relate to people, the way you think about people, the way you talk to people, the way you interact, it all matters. See, for Jesus, he's saying it's way more than murder. Look what Jesus tells us, verse 23. Therefore, if you're offering your gift at the altar, and there remember your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First, go and be reconciled to them, and then come and offer your gift Settle matters quickly with your adversary who's taking you to court. Do it while you're still together. See, the Pharisees, they're using the wrong measuring stick. They're asking the wrong questions. They're using the wrong standard. It's not just, oh, don't kill someone. Jesus says, no, hey, how are your relationships? If someone has an issue with you, Jesus says, you can either be a part of the problem or the solution. He's saying, be a part of the solution. Go to them, correct it, fix it, address it. Jesus says, even if it's not your fault, even if maybe you had nothing to do with it, but you know a brother or sister has an issue with you, hey, go to them, address it, ask about it, talk about it. Even if it's awkward, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's something we never did, Jesus says, go to the person, deal with it. And here's why. Because if we would do this, if we would reconcile relationships, well, then murder would not even be an option. We would be so far removed from murder, that wouldn't even be on the table. I don't think we have murderers here, but anger, broken relationships. See, Jesus is saying you can't just ignore relationships. You have to restore relationships. So Jesus is going after our hearts. He's pressing in. He's taking this so much further, so much deeper. If we want to know what matters to Jesus, we know relationships matter. The next topic, Jesus says, is lust. Verse 27. You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. See, the Pharisees, they're not technically sleeping around, but that's not the point. See, the way that you end murder, it's not through anger management classes. It's by restoring relationships. Same thing with adultery. The way that you stop adultery, it's not by eliminating lust, it's by guarding your heart, protecting your heart, filtering everything that's coming into your heart. Look at verse 29. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out, throw it away. It's better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. If your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off, throw it away. It's better for you to lose one part of your body than your whole body to go into hell. Does Jesus actually mean this? Like, does cutting off our hand, gouging out our eye, does this actually eliminate lust? No, because we have another eye. We have another hand. So what Jesus is doing here is he's saying your heart matters. Everything that you put into your heart, everything that you are exposed to, everything that you allow to come into, infiltrate your heart matters. This means that Jesus cares about what we look at. He cares about what you watch, what you read. He cares about what you wear. He cares about the clothes in your closet. He cares about what you swipe and scroll on your phone, what you download. He cares about your Netflix account. Jesus cares about everything that we are allowing to infiltrate and to come into our heart. Our heart matters. So Jesus says you have to protect it. Because the reality is lust is everywhere. Lust is not hiding. You don't have to go looking for it. It comes to you. It's accessible. It's acceptable. It's become normalized. It's just a part of the culture that we live in. And so Jesus is saying you have to watch out. You have to guard it. You have to protect it. It's not just by changing your behavior. It's by protecting your heart. Jesus says two things, that we need to be serious with it, that we need to deal with lust. He says, stop it, delete it, throw it away, cut it out, gouge it out, rip it off, pull it out by the roots, like get rid of it. He says your life depends on it. But he also says it's possible. It's possible. Like it's possible to remove it from your life. You don't have to be mastered by lust. Jesus says you can defeat it. That is so encouraging because I think some of us have struggled with lust for so long, we have stopped fighting. We have just assumed we're going to carry this with us the rest of our life. And Jesus saying, no, get after it. Be serious with it, but it's possible. You don't have to be mastered by it, controlled by it. Kill it, cut it off, pull it out, end it. Does Jesus care about adultery? Yes. But what is he going after? What is he putting his foot on the shovel? What is he wanting to reveal and expose in our hearts? That we need to protect it, that we need to guard it, that we need to watch it. Verse 31, the next topic is divorce. Verse 31, it has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you, right, this is Jesus' authority. I tell you, anyone who divorces his wife except for sexual immorality makes her the victim of adultery. And anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Jesus, what are you saying here? He's saying marriage matters. It matters. That marriage matters and the way that we treat our spouse matters. During this time of the Pharisees, only men are the ones who could divorce women. And all the divorces had to be approved, signed off by other men. And so you can see the problem here. To protect women, to make sure women were provided for, the Old Testament does have exceptions. It does have permissible reasons for divorce. This always protected the wife. For the Pharisees, they realized adding more laws just made them a lawbreaker. And so instead of adding more laws to this impossibly high standard, they began looking for loopholes. I mean, again, that's what lawyers do, right? Not just read the fine print, but they're looking for ways around, ways to skirt the law, loopholes. So by the time of Jesus, a man could get a divorce for almost any and every reason. Here's a few. These are real examples of reasons for divorce by the time of Jesus. If she had poor posture, if she had no eyebrows, or one eyebrow, or bushy eyebrows, if her eyes were too high or too low, if her eyes were too big, if her nose was too big or too small, if her ears were floppy. I don't even know what that means, but it's grounds for divorce. Overbite, underbite, missing teeth. If her belly button was an outie, big toes, bow-legged. If she simply spoke to any other man other than her husband, reasons, grounds, permissions for divorce. If she yelled at her husband so loud that it could be heard outside the home, grounds for divorce. If she burned the dinner. Really? Or if the husband simply found someone he thought was prettier. These were, by the time of Jesus, all valid, legitimate reasons. The Pharisees were signing off certificates of divorce, saying it's permissible. They're looking for loopholes, right? Do you see Jesus' heart? That Jesus, again, is trying to do what the Old Testament 10 Commandments, the law was doing. He's trying to protect the innocent. In a culture where marriage was disposable, marriage was thrown away, Jesus is elevating it. He's lifting it back up, and it says, no, marriage matters. You know, I imagine all of us in some way have been impacted, touched by divorce. Maybe personally, maybe through friends, maybe through family, extended family. And here, I mean, Jesus, he does allow it for exceptions. There are reasons for it to be permissible, right? But it's not for burning lasagna. He's elevating it. He's taking it back to God's original intent, God's plan for what God intended marriage to be. It's because our relationships matter, our hearts matter, our marriage matters. Here's what's next, our words matter. Verse 33, again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. We don't really use oaths today, right? Like, I mean, even like, swearing on your great grandmother's grave. Like, we're not really oath kind of people, but in the time of the Pharisees, like they were masters, right? Lawyers of their words, of contracts, of all these elaborate oaths that simply they could say to get themselves out of anything, to get what they wanted. They used oaths and their words to manipulate people, to take advantage of people, ultimately just to simply get what they want. I think there's some ways maybe practically for us that somehow we kind of do the same thing. Here's some examples. Hey, can I be honest with you? Maybe you say that. Maybe you've heard somebody else say that. Like, what does that even mean? Does that mean when you're otherwise talking to me, like you're not being honest with me, but all of a sudden now because you said that you're being honest with me? No, I think it's innocent, but what are people trying to do? They're trying to express sincerity. You can believe me. You can trust me. Like they're trying to earn credit with it. It's kind of the same thing, that we are using our words in some way to softly manipulate people to get what we want. Here's another one. Hey, I'm just saying. Have you ever said that? You ever hear that? Like if we say, hey, I'm just saying, like all of a sudden now we're giving ourselves permission to say anything that we want. We can be completely rude. We can be a complete jerk, but if I'm just saying, you have to hear this and you can't judge me or hold it against me because I can say whatever I want to say. See, in a lot of ways, I mean, we use our words in the same way. And here Jesus is saying your words matter. Jesus says your words, like Jesus cares about what you say to others. He says, let your yes be yes, your no be no. Like, don't have strings attached. Don't coerce people. Don't manipulate people. Don't use your words as a weapon. Don't have unspoken expectations. Don't put unnecessary pressure on people, pointing them into a corner where now they're going to feel bad if they can't help. Like, hey, just simply let your yes be yes, your no be no. Don't manipulate people to get what you want. Verse 38, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, all right? Jesus is introducing another one, right? I mean, it's just like rapid fire. He is just coming after us with these 6 areas that he cares about. And this is the key, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. This means, man, you come after me, I'm coming after you. You hurt me, I will hurt you. Like the whole idea here is retaliation. It's getting back. Verse 39, but I tell you, do not resist an evil person. So how do we deal with people who are evil? This is how. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. If anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to the one who asks you and do not turn away the one who wants to borrow from you. I think of all these things that Jesus is saying, like this is one of the hardest. Like when someone comes after you, when someone attacks you, when someone disrespects you, when someone accuses you, when someone wants to sue you, what is Jesus saying? He is saying don't retaliate. Why? Because your reputation matters. And Jesus cares about how you influence others. Jesus is talking about evil people. So how do we resist evil people? We don't stoop down to their level. We don't do what they do. They want to sue you. They want to pick a fight with you. They want to take you to court, right? The Roman soldiers, by law, they could show up. They could force you to carry their backpack 1 mile. Jesus says, go 2 miles. Why? Because Jesus is asking us to do the things that nobody else will do. Jesus is saying, don't lower yourself. Don't lower your reputation to that of an evil person. You're not like them. Jesus is not saying, hey, you just need to be a nice person. He's not saying that. Jesus didn't come to make us nice. He came to make us new. He didn't go to the cross that we would be nice people. He came to the cross so that we would be a new kind of people, a people that reflect him, a people who look like him, a people who don't do what other people do, new people. Jesus is asking us to do the things that nobody else will do because this is real. This is pure. This comes from a place that is just deep down and genuine and sincere. You can't fake this. You can't check this box. See, Jesus wants us to do the things that nobody else will do because our reputation matters, and he wants us to be an influence to the people around us. So he says, don't stoop to their level. Don't retaliate. With your words, don't manipulate. And when you're dealing with someone who's hard to get along with, an evil person, don't come down to their level. Here's the last one. Jesus says, love matters. See, Jesus cares about how you love others. Verse 43. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. Jesus has been building to this point. All of these areas are relationships. Why do relationships matter? Why does our heart matter? Why does our marriage matter? Why do our words matter? Why does our reputation, why does love matter? He says, because you are his children, children of the Heavenly Father. And that means that when other people look at us, that they are to see God's presence reflected in us, shining through us. This is what it means to be salt and light, the kind of people who impact and influence the world around us, that they see Jesus tattooed all over us because we're his kids, we're his children, that we are to reflect and represent the presence of God to all of the people around us. And that's not possible simply on the outside. Like you can't just phone it in and pretend. Like at some point, that's not sustainable. You can't live that way. It will crush you. It will wear you out. It will exhaust you. And so Jesus is saying, if you want your righteousness to surpass that of the Pharisees, it's got to be real. And where does that come from? Comes from here. So Jesus is starting with the inside, that we would live in a way that is unlike the world, this way that is an inside out kind of life. Verse 48, last verse, Jesus says, be perfect. That's got to be a typo, right? He doesn't really mean that, right? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Man, when we hear this word perfect, we're thinking flawless, faultless. We're thinking perfect. But I can't be that. I can't do that. There's no possible way. And so when I hear Jesus says, be perfect, I immediately dismiss everything that Jesus has just said because there's no way he really means that. But when Jesus said that, the crowds, they immediately knew exactly what he meant. See, the word perfect, it can also mean be whole, be complete, be mature. See, when we live this way, a way that God is working in our hearts, revealing the things in our life that he wants to pull out, that he wants to cut out, that he wants to stop. That when we begin living this way that is supernaturally real, that other people take notice, that other people see, that his way is actually the right way. His way leads to a life that is whole. It's not missing anything. It's complete. It's mature. It has everything that we need. So Jesus is saying to the Pharisees, hey, don't play the games, because what I offer, it's so much more real. There is a depth. There is a sincerity. There is a righteousness. There is a reality that it's not just manufactured artificially, arbitrarily on the outside, but it's coming from a place that is real. And it's a place that only God can work. even this list of 6. Man, these are hard truths. These are hard things that Jesus is asking us to step into. So how do we do it? How do we even just do one of these? Well, we can't do it on our own. It requires him. See, the way that we are perfect, it's not on our own. It's through his grace, his help. He is the one who changes us. I want to encourage you, challenge you. Hey, pick one. It's got to start somewhere. Have it start right here, today. Pick one of these because it's time to make some changes. It's time to get below the surface, to begin building a foundation, to begin preparing a soil of your heart that is ready. It's ready to receive the Lord. It's time to be a new person. Pick one. And then tell one. Today, tell one person. Hey, you don't have to have the whole plan figured out. You don't have to tell your whole life story. You don't have to go into details. But if you would pick one of these areas that you want Jesus to begin working in your heart, and if you would be so brave to tell one other person, here's the power. You're speaking it out loud. Because the Pharisees were master pretenders. They faked everything. They hid everything. They buried it. They covered it. They just cared about the outside. They didn't care about the inside. And so as we reveal one area to somebody else, the Lord starts working. Because you can't fake that. And would you stand with me as we pray?